that in a little while. The bottom is
in sight. Here
yes,
we go.
Indeed, here we are.
And here we are under manganese crust. You're absolutely right, Chris. The very first thing we see is giant boulders covered in a lumpy surface that when we get down to the bottom and zoom in is going to show us a surface that looks like the top of a cauliflower or a broccoli on most of these rocks, indicating a very thick coating of manganese crust.
Now this bridge.
Hey, Bridge, I just want to let you know that
these crusts have a lot of rare earth elements in them, and
you.
that is one of the things that people are interested in mining, because rare earths are important for a lot of our technology that we use today, particularly computer-related and iPhones and
Would you like me to draw
so
in,
forth.
bring some lights out, anything?
I think we're going to start with the lights stowed.
Okay.
So
It's
people
pretty
at
steep.
home looking at this video, we
but yeah,
have
the door can go
3
be put
feeds
away.
available to you. The main screen that you see immediately when you click onto the live video is the imagery from a high-definition camera that is situated in the center of the front of the remotely operated vehicle that we refer to as D2. That's its name. And the pilot will position the D2 so that the videographer can zoom on things to bring you exquisite images of what we're looking at on the seafloor. The remotely operated vehicle is tethered to another vehicle that flies above it in the water column by a 30-meter cable. And that vehicle is called the Sirius. And the Sirius is connected to the ship by a long cable that reaches down to it from the ship up above.
Watch the pilot.
And I will stop here. Looks like
Go
we
ahead,
have a
pilot.
communication problem.
Okay.
No, we're good.
So
We're good? Okay.
Here we are on the bottom.
Okay, so there
Very
we
well set up. I'm
Yep.
just doing a scan. That was a view more or less to the south. Now I'm going to roll the other way, take a view to the north. Just give you an idea of the terrain that we're on here.
Roger that. Okay, so we just heard from our pilot, Jeff, and as you can see, if you look in the screen 2 from the Sirius, he's just doing a slow scan. Yeah, so
We're looking around.
see what's what before we, well, we have begun our dive, but he's going to take a look around, see what's what, get a
the pilots
get a
take
feel for where
maybe
we are.
10 minutes or so to discover what the terrain looks like. There can be currents on the seafloor that
Arranged
can
my sonar into 50
move
meters.
the vehicle around, so
You want me to rangers in just a little bit?
they'll
Oh,
be
yes,
checking
please.
on all of that.
What would you like?
Probably on the order of 10 meters.
There's a 20.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
There's a 10.
Outcrop right below the thick layer of
Yeah, we can take a look at
manganese.
that outcrop, and then we can go up and take a look at that lyrate, harp-shaped coral.
Branching
Okay.
coral.
It's very
Copy those.
pretty.
Yeah, just drifting right now, checking for current.
I'm just wondering if we're going to be able to measure the thickness of the manganese coating right here. We have laser beams that can be trained on the seafloor, two
there's
little
a
red
slight
dots that are
current to the
about
north.
10 centimeters apart from one
Oh,
another.
lasers.
Yes, please. Thanks. All right.
And with those, we're able to measure the
My Z-by
the size of features that we see on the seafloor.
Judging by the lasers tracing horizontally.
Hey, you're back.
Okay, great.
We're
Thank
back.
you.
All right.
Actually, you're back.
Yeah, we have a great view out here.
Well, no, they could still see us. They
Oh.
couldn't talk, and they could hear us on the
Okay. On the
video
feed,
line, but they could not
talk.
talk to us.
Oh,
You set up?
And we
That
like
would
to
not be
hear
good.
from you. No, no.
We've been
definitely.
having a fine conversation amongst ourselves, though.
Oh, that's great. So what have you decided?
Good spot is in near
Well,
Dinosaur.
we're
Yeah, we're pretty
we're
much right
seeing
there.
a lot of topography here, so I was thinking that we don't have to worry too much about trying to find a ridge.
Yep.
and we're seeing animals. So we were just thinking that let's follow the animals and just start heading up slope. If it looks like it's getting kind of sedimenty, then we can move off and try to find that ridge.
Okay, Chris, that sounds good. And if you look at the sonar on the quad screen, for folks at home, that's the feed on your
Pilots, did you just
far
copy?
right
They said
of
okay,
the three you
yes.
have available to
Yeah,
you.
follow the
the
In the
animals.
lower
Stay on
right
the rock.
corner,
Sediment.
there are
Ridge.
two
I
circles.
think they want
off.
The
ridge.
circle on the left
Yeah.
of the two
Biologicals.
shows the
Nice.
It's
sonar
gonna be the name of the
returns
game, I think,
from
today.
D2, the
you're
ROV.
right.
So the bright
Yeah.
reflectors in yellow that you
like
see
you're off to a pretty
are
good start, pilot.
hard
Yeah.
surfaces in front of the remotely operated vehicle. So it looks like there are some big rocks or some lumps and bumps right in front of us.
Okay, so watch leads. This is Pilot. I am
Like
ready
there will be
to
no
do our
problem
first,
going straight up.
observation.
Okay, thanks, pilot. And we would love to take a look at that beautiful fan right
Okay.
up at the top there.
First, we would like to look at the rocks.
First, the rock.
First, yes.
Okay.
Pilot, if we could just, we're going to try to measure how thick that manganese crust is, if possible.
Okay.
You know, between the rough surface and the smooth, lumpy surface. So
Would that
where,
be a good spot right there?
right where the lasers are, is perfect. Thank you.
All right, let me just go in there.
So the difference in the surface that we're looking at on the right-hand side is smoothly covered with a manganese crust, and on the left is probably a more recent
So, Tara, if we could zoom in, please.
exposed surface that doesn't have that smoother, lumpy
Ooh,
surface. So,
wow.
Okay.
Very cool.
So we have at least
No,
maybe
keep the lasers in sight. There we go.
about 5 to maybe in some places 7 centimeters.
Okay, so is that the kind of surface you called botryoidal the other day?
On the upper half of the screen, it's a little
Okay.
bit lumpy, but not as lumpy as I was expecting.
Okay.
I mean, it really looks like cauliflower if it's just really coated. But it appears to be quite a thick coating, both on the lower left and on the upper right. The ledge looks like it's in places at least 5 centimeters, and then as we rise up down to maybe 2 centimeters or 1.5 centimeters, but it's kind of variable. Okay. Thank
All
you,
right.
Pilot. That's great.
Full wide,
So
please.
for the viewers who are looking at this right now, they might be wondering, well, why would anyone care about this rock? It's black, kind of ugly rock. And this rock, it's been analyzed, of course, since decades ago, and this rock is known to have all types of really commercially valuable minerals and metals. It's got copper, iron, it's got cobalt, it's got titanium, and there's just a whole list of things in here on the surface. So the idea for manganese crust mining is to actually scrape off that 7 centimeters that Patty was talking about off the surface of these rocks in places where they can do that with machinery, deepwater machinery. And of course, the concern of ours is that anything like these corals that's living on that surface they are going to stop living very quickly. And so we need to find out what is at risk and try to find where higher density communities are located, which would probably be more critical to try to preserve.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Chris, you didn't mention the rare earth elements, which are critical for our modern technologies. I did mention that when you guys couldn't hear me, but for computer technology, including our iPhones and iPads, and of course I'm only talking about Macintosh things, but
Okay, Scott, what are we seeing?
yeah,
It looks like we're
Scott.
looking at a couple of different primnoid octocorals. So octocorals
Okay, to
that
zoom a
belong
bit
to the
further.
family
Yeah,
Primnoidae. That's what this sort of lyrate or candelabra-like one is. And then just to its right, I see that there's a feather-like black coral, I believe.
Ooh.
Not sure initially what species or genus of primnoid this is. Chris is suggesting possibly the genus Candidella.
Okay,
And
go
that is
full
certainly a
zoom.
possibility. One of the things that we look for is
That's
the polyps, which are those structures that you see emanating from each of the branches each of those, they're very small, but each of those has a ring of tentacles and a mouth. And it looks like they're oriented in groups of 3, so that's one clue we would use. They also appear to be almost perpendicular to facing down a little bit. That's another characteristic. But ultimately, to be able to identify it, we'd have to collect it and look at microscopical elements. And I do want to point out one thing. 2-3 dives ago, I'm losing track, we were on what we were calling Explorer Ridge. And we were in the same depth zone. We saw lots of corals. And interestingly, I believe we saw only one coral from this family, the Primnoidae. And this is among the most common families of octocorals in the deep sea. So it's very interesting that right away we see 2 of them here. And Tina's suggesting the black coral belongs to the genus Schistopathes or Heteropathes.
Full zoom.
Thank you, Scott.
That was Scott France from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. He's been one of our regulars every single day,
I'm
every
waiting for
single
Scott
dive.
to come back with the trivia comments about some of the animals that we see that I love so much. He has all kinds of wonderful stories about
Holothurians.
ancient history and things associated with these animals.
We have some
Or
other
urban myths.
Yes, some other deep sea biologists too who are helping us. So he mentioned Tina Molitsova from the P.P. Shearshoff Institute in Moscow.
What else is up here?
Scott's been the bio lead on a few of these expeditions. So as Patty and I mentioned, we're the science leads. There are only 2 of us out
Pilot,
here.
is it okay if I
And
turn my
Scott
head
has
to
served
aim
as
uphill a
the
little bit?
biology
Try to find the-
lead on
Yeah.
at least a couple cruises, maybe more than that, Scott.
Yeah, Tina also
Pilot,
mentioned
so, yeah,
something
we're
I
pretty much
noticed
probably
too,
just
that,
gonna go
that
straight
there were
uphill.
3 polyps
The waypoint
per verticell,
from Washington is-
or I noticed that there were actually on that first one we looked at, there were 3 polyps on some
275.
of the
pretty much straight
nose.
west. So I think we can just
I
go.
wonder if
And that
this
was
one will
just
show that too.
if we wanted to go sideways a little bit.
We
What
to
is that
need
thing?
a little
I think they're
closer
happy
look
with the
to
rocks.
find out
I'll
whether
double
it
check.
does.
Well, okay. Do we want to spend?
Okay.
Just curious.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Nav. Okay, so that little thing we're seeing
pilots,
over that's
Washingtons
waving
are happy to just keep
is
going
a
uphill if we
tunicate. Yeah.
keep finding neat stuff.
Asking
Take a tighter look at the tunics.
Yeah, we already got it.
You got the
That one?
tunicate? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Roger.
All right.
Do we have a couple more seconds?
Sure. Yeah, we're not
Deb
moving.
Blixen, who's
Whoops.
joining us from Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute
Sorry.
at Florida Atlantic University,
worries,
and
I'm
Deb
partial.
says that it looks like a Venus flytrap, indeed. Deb was the geology science lead on the first leg of this expedition a couple months ago. So, for those of you who stuck with it with a midwater
Sorry.
dive yesterday,
That's okay.
we saw some
Got enough for
larvaceans, which are pelagic tunicates, and they make
Pink
this
thing over
big
here.
kind of like mucus
Oh,
So
yeah.
Cooper,
house
I don't
that
see
they
a
use
ton
to
on your
trap
sonar.
particles.
So for the first move, we just went 285.
Okay, we are going
seems
to
to be-
We're
start
gonna
moving
move
up.
slope.
Wow.
Anything right now?
Let's do zoom.
Sure.
Yeah, 285.
All right, just want to start with 20 meters.
Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds good.
Yeah,
Copy that. I'll put it in.
All right.
excellent.
Okay.
So when we
I'm lined up on
say
285.
we're starting
Okay.
to move up slope, what that also means is that the
I
navigator
got you
in
at
the front
33,
row
so you got a minute.
contacts the bridge and asks the bridge to move the ship a little bit forward along our intended
White
track.
band, the rock.
No,
And
no,
that
give me
will
about 40
help
minutes.
That's a
Coffee
good
Pull
break.
the
question.
I'll be
Sirius
good.
vehicle up
Guy
slope,
ready for
which
football.
gives the ROV on his 30-meter tether a bit more slack. Hey, look at this, Shirley. What is this guy?
I copy 2
There's
centimeters,
also a
carrying 2
coral
with
on the rock
5029.
above you.
And
Thanks.
it is about 5 or 6 centimeters, 7 centimeters in
It's
diameter.
not at the top of this one.
I have
but
no idea
in
what
the
that is.
distance,
Do you know?
That
Nope.
big
Looks like
branch,
it
you
could be
think?
part of a dead sponge.
Yeah, that's what
Part
I'm.
of a dead sponge?
Yeah,
Okay.
possibly.
So the base and part of the stalk?
Yes, that's not a stalk. It looks like maybe a tube.
Okay.
The one that we were just looking at. Yep, go ahead.
So we have a red colony on the boulder up
Yeah. I
ahead.
see that.
That would be interesting to look at. It's probably Paragorgia or Corallidae.
Would that make it one of the precious corals that you're?
Watch lead pilot.
That you're
I got
interested
that.
in?
We're going to
Yeah,
zoom
got
on a
it
red
there.
guy.
If it's in the family Corallidae, then yeah, it's in the family of some of the precious corals, but nobody's harvesting precious corals from this depth right now. So this would be a species in the one of the precious coral families, but itself is not one of the precious corals.
Okay, zoom partial. Hold
That was Chris Kelly. Chris is actually kind of the science lead for this capstone campaign. It's a 3-year campaign, and it's
Go ahead, zoom some more.
to help resource managers better understand what the resources are that we have in these areas, and precious corals are one of the managed fisheries. Okay, I'm going to let one of the experts talk about this.
Oh, gorgeous.
Paragorgiidae, sorry.
Oh, does that mean it is gorgeous?
It is gorgeous.
Yeah, this is one of the octocorals that has the
Go
common
ahead
name
and take a
of
bit more
bubblegum
zoom.
corals. So it's in the family Paragorgiidae. It's a good bet that it's the genus Paragorgia. There are a couple of other ones, but that's what we'll go with. And very often, as with a lot of octocorals, you'll see that in the branches are these brittle stars, also called snake stars. And you can see the brownish arms of a very large snake star kind of wound around several of the branches there. They are not the brittle stars aren't necessarily dependent on very specific species of coral. These brittle stars that we're looking at here, although you do see a reduced set of species of these brittle stars on different kinds of these Paragorgia coralliids. And if we could get a quick look at the white one on the right, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Roger that. Pilot, if we can take a look at that white coral that the lasers are on right now, please.
Wash, it's 1 sec. They're just in a quick pilot
So
change.
you may or may not have noticed as he's zooming in here on the bottom, there's a lot of dead sponge stalks, and these could be either farreids or some other type of sponge. So they're there, or at least they were here, or were there, but we may be seeing some pretty interesting sponges pretty
With the
soon.
white thing.
Yeah, Chris,
Yeah.
that one just to the left of the colony we're about to zoom in on looks quite large.
Fish and Sirius this view.
Copy that. Checking you out.
Wow, it sure does look pretty large. Yeah,
It's
Yeah, it's
huge.
really- yeah.
Really fat.
yeah.
Hey, come on in video.
From this angle and distance where I am, these look like fossilized trees next to
Yeah,
They sure
I
do.
know.
Lasers for this one.
What's that?
Could
we get rid of the lasers?
6 centimeters
Lasers coming off.
in diameter in some cases.
That's.
The one lower to the left is bigger.
I know.
Yeah.
It's quite large.
Hold this for a few seconds.
Oh, there's a little round thing on the right-hand side of this coral
All right,
on the
taking more
left
zoom.
hand.
Yep, I see that.
Fourth branch from the left. What is this?
I see that. Looks like. It looks like it might be an anemone that's on
Okay.
the coral. This is another primnoid.
Norella?
Thanks for that, Jim.
Oh, you're welcome.
A lot of anemones.
Nice.
Let me,
So, Chris, all those small round patches, sponges that we're seeing encrusting on the rocks, do you think those are hexactinellid sponges or demo sponges?
What were they, Shirley?
You know, I'm seeing a lot of little small
Skimming on the sponges
round
in the back.
sponges
Oh, I see.
encrusting
Sure.
on the rocks. Yeah, you see
behind
some
the
right
coral,
now.
right on the edge.
Yeah, not sure if I think they're hexactinellids, but I'm not sure.
I think there may be one closer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on
your
the
guess
right-hand
is
side.
as good as mine, Shirley. I think that's
Yeah.
a good chance that they are, but I don't recognize
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Hey,
fairly
come on in.
common.
Okay. Taking more zoom.
Well, we have a new set of front row people that need to introduce themselves.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Get my toe in here.
You want to check out that sponge? I know.
Yeah, well, just
Yeah.
curious because there are so many of them.
Ooh, look at this
that are on
guy.
the
Very
rocks,
much
yeah.
closer. What is? Yep,
Not sure.
is a sponge.
Not sure.
Hard to see the structure.
Well,
Is that what
yeah.
gives you the distinction?
yeah, yes. Well, structure, the spicule types, and
Right.
so on. It's a lot easier when they're the stalked varieties. Yeah, I'm just not sure about this. Okay, thank you,
Hey,
pilot.
Come on out, video.
And those.
Oh,
And could we just
Video
also
switching out.
take a quick look at that very thick dead branch that's to the left of the white coral, please?
Yeah, copy.
I'm amazed at how
yeah.
big that
And
is.
we need
Come on in.
lasers on it
Can we
too.
get lasers, co-pilot?
Yeah, let's look at
This
this,
is on.
and then maybe we can get on our way. because
Yeah,
today
exactly.
We most definitely
Oh,
want to get to the
That
top.
is 10
Wow.
centimeters. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what that is.
9.5
Wow.
centimeters in diameter. It's huge.
That's
This is the dead stock of probably a Phareid, and it may be in the genus Aspidoscopulia, because I've been communicating with one of the Russian hexactinellid experts, Dr. Konstantin Kabachnik, and he's described this genus before and sent pictures to me about it. And you can just tell from that one piece that that's
you
probably
actually
what
read
it
one
is.
Yes.
wow, big,
Those
really
have
big.
been there so long that it's encrusted with some manganese. Is
Yes.
that what the black is?
Yes, and
Yeah, I think so.
think it's pretty thick too, and that contributes to the diameter.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes
Yeah,
a little bit
in-
more
in
sense
part,
then.
Yep.
So it wasn't too far off in
Already
calling
indicated
them
the pink one was
fossil
yet to be
trees
imaged.
next to the coral.
That's
We
true.
imaged the pink one. To the left.
Oh, there's a big stalk sitting
So
down
it's
on
pretty
it.
interesting as we move upslope, just to remind people that this is what the outside of these geos look like, whereas yesterday we were looking at the inside of them.
Exactly.
This lyrate-like colony we're seeing here is the same one that
Your
we
sonar
imaged
is
below.
at,
It's a
10 meters
not
total.
coral primnoid,
So fun,
but
or
the
do you want
width
it
is
zoomed
something
out?
That's fine.
new, and I
Copy.
can't tell from this distance if that's a bamboo coral or a primnoid coral.
Yep. Watchley pilot, are you gonna zoom on that whip-like coral?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, come on in,
It's like
video.
a bamboo coral as we're moving in.
Oh boy.
Partial.
Boy, Scott, this one looks like it has some serious intertentacular needles.
I
Yes.
definitely agree with that. Les and I have colloquially referred to some of these bamboo corals based on the amount of times they sting us when we pick or stab us. And I believe Les's student Abby and actually my student Miss Free have both labeled one of these colloquially as a Wolverine type after the Wolverine X-Men who has those steel shanks
Do we have a
stick
ship
out of his
movement?
fingers.
Yeah.
So it looks like those Clarites, those needles are longer
We
on
had
one
one just put
side
in.
than
It
another.
ended
And I
maybe
can
5
see
minutes
very
ago, and I
long
think
into
they're
nodes.
just
That's a
about
great
done
view
swinging.
of that. That'll
Okay,
help us
got that.
identify.
Want to look at the
when you're ready. Thank
connection point at the...
See, I love his
Look at the
stories.
base. Yeah.
Absolutely love
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, pilot, we were moving at
Thank you, Scott.
285. Are you good for another move?
maximum.
Are we good for another move
Yeah.
from Sirius's perspective?
Yeah, I think I have you at 5.5. It'll take maybe 6 minutes to translate.
Yeah, we can do another move.
All right.
We don't see any cliffs.
Yeah, sonar looks
Right.
good.
Come on out, video.
Aha. Tara
Yeah,
Luke
no,
corrects
if
you,
you're gonna do
Scott.
maybe,
It's adamantium,
30
not
meters at
steel.
285.
Copy that. 30 meters, 285.
Yeah, I
Please, thank
didn't
you.
mean to say steel, and so I'm very sorry, all you X-Men geeks.
And co-pilot, if you could partially deploy my lower swing arms.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, it looks a little green. Are we still not using the bridge?
White
this
balance.
is now.
That's correct. No white balance.
Hello, Bridge. You got Richard on the
Did
chair
you
now.
have
Thanks
a
to
little
ours. And could I have a move, please?
Where we want to go?
We'll have a range of 30
So maybe
meters
we could
and a
skip
bearing
this
of
one and just keep
285
moving
and a
up,
speed
slip
of
up again.
0.2
I'm going
knots,
to be
please.
very mindful of us making the talk today.
Come on in, video.
Roger that.
Just for your reference,
0.2 knots.
we have made
Good copy, Bridge.
4 vertical
Something ain't that
meters out of our 250 so far in the dive.
Okay, come on up.
Okay, so pilot, what we would like to do is try not to zoom in on everything that we've already seen before, because we need to make a it's our goal to get to the top today. So if we can just try and move along, and until of course we ask you to stop.
Yeah, copy. I'm just we just put in a ship move, so I'm waiting for the
Right.
ship to start moving.
Roger
Yep.
that.
Heard
And
that.
we can have nav figure out our average speed we need to hit in order
Roger
to
that.
get to our end target. And
Oh.
then we
Oh,
can
thanks,
try to
Josh.
Thank
keep
you.
us going.
Yeah, if
Come on in, video.
once you have snapped this, yeah, watch lead pilot, would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Josh Carlson. I'm piloting D2 at the moment. To my right is Sean, who is piloting Sirius, the camera platform, and to my left is Richard, who is doing calculations on the fly as our navigator. And then on video right now, which you could probably already tell by the quality of the video, it's Roland Bryan. And I'm not sure who's on clipping right now.
Annie.
Excellent.
Annie White?
I know. I was gonna be.
Right.
I was gonna kid.
Oh, you were trying to get
There's
him
a-
to remember.
Yes. Oh no, but he didn't forget.
He
I
did.
didn't
That was
forget, I
Jeff.
just-
That was Jeff before, who called her Annie Smith.
Well, we have Tara Smithy and Annie White assisting.
And all three of
With
our videographers
clipping.
are award winning,
Yes.
and that's why you see this amazing,
They
amazing
are.
imagery.
It's the white strings on the left. Have we imaged those on the rock?
Yeah, go ahead and roll. Sediment.
There you get those
We're
zoanthid.
seeing really thick manganese
Let's
crusts
do a
here.
quick zoom on these coral here.
There's zoanthids.
Ooh, look at that.
It's-
Very nice. These are zoanthids. We have been joined by Diva Amon at the University of Hawaii. She and Deb Glickson from Harbor Branch, Florida Atlantic University were the science leads on leg 1 of this mission.
They were.
Okay.
Right.
Hmm.
Let's get-
Lasers are still on?
Yep.
Okay. good. You want the white thing?
Yeah, come on out.
Look like a small needle next to
Look
it.
at that big one.
Yeah, we're gonna do this big guy here.
And there's a brittle
Oh, no,
start
this is
down
something
to the
different,
right of
surely.
Come on in.
Not sure. Let's see. Wow. Wow.
I think it is. Spongy onesie. Sponge.
So Nav, are you figuring out
What a
how
weird
fast
sponge.
we have to go to hit the last waypoint?
I'm working on it. It looks
So
like
this is a very common sponge we've imaged a lot before. It's an mosquito pleura. It's sort of a brittle sponge. We used to call them paddle sponges or leaf sponges until we knew what they were. So it's good to document this one here. I don't think we've seen tons of them in the Marianas up till now.
Thing growing on the base of the sponge.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll do.
Is that a hydroid on its?
It is.
Once
It
we get
is.
this, we'll do a slow pan up the
learning.
stock.
All right.
Okay. Need to slow our video moves just a little bit. We're not getting our full 10 to 13 seconds.
Yep.
It's interesting in the background. The surface coating looks fractured, cracked, and slightly displaced from what looks like plate. Wonder if this is representative of some of the faulting that's really obvious on the flat part of the top of this wall that we're climbing. Because that obviously looks like it's been
now look at
uplifted
that.
and fractured.
So now we're coming
my
to
calculations are correct.
to
We've got
an
about
area
600
that's-
meters to cover.
it's actually
Just over 600 meters.
Well, this
If
yeah,
we
the upper
bypass
part of the
Western
screen
Two,
is more
more
horizontal,
horizontal,
over 5
and the
hours on
lower
bottom
part
still.
has fractured and dropped down.
Yep.
and that'll give us a
That's-
speed of 0.1.
Nice.
Very obvious to see.
So
Yeah, very
It's
nice.
all doable at this current time.
Okay, well, that's assuming we can maintain 0.1 the whole time, which is ambitious.
Oh, yeah.
So we're probably going to have to go a little faster on this flatter terrain.
Copy.
So if we want to start doing moves at like 0.2, and Sean and you can keep a very close eye on the sonar
Yeah.
and
Copy that.
keep an eye out for cliffs. Can you bring my port wing outboard, Sean?
Thanks, Josh.
I was told not to touch it because the shilling sagged onto it.
The shilling sagged onto it, and we can't move the shilling?
We're trying not to test hydraulics.
Okay.
Sorry, pilot.
So are we going to be able to open the drawer if the
It's interesting how the manganese
yeah,
is
but
just
don't have the
draping
wing
over everything.
outboard like that
It's
anymore.
Nice
Come on in, video.
hexactinellid sponge or glass
Okay, pilots,
sponge.
looks like we're on ship is on
Very
position.
nice.
All right,
Oh,
so we
I'm
can
getting warm.
dial in another move.
You're getting
yeah.
warm.
Nav, if you want to do the same thing,
Here,
that.
have my freezing
yeah,
cold
I'm at
hands on
point
your
two.
arms.
we are. I think we
We
were
were
doing
at
point two.
0.2,
Okay,
yes.
good.
I brought my
It's 30
fuzzy
meters
warm
at
sweater
285.
today.
You did.
Yeah.
So you can be red, white, and blue.
Good
Indeed.
copy, Nav.
Why not?
So this is kind of a good
I'll
example
rotate
of a
slightly
typical
forward, keep you in view.
caulophacus sponge. It's got that little pom-pom ball on top, but if you'll
Bridge,
notice,
could I
it's
ask for
actually
something
not
again,
in
please,
the
which
sediment,
is
it's in the
range
manganese
30
crust. We just
meters,
had a look at that.
bearing
And this is the way they
285 and a speed of
typically
0.2 knots,
anchor to the
please.
substrate. They glue themselves on the rocks. And so those ones that we
Thank you.
collected earlier during these legs, they were doing something very different.
Nav, watch me.
Go ahead, watch leads.
fish. It's got a very white
Come on
tip.
in, Roland.
Can you repeat again?
All right, we got our first fish.
I don't
Okay,
think Bruce is on the line yet, so
I
Chris,
can drop a marker, yes.
take it away. Oh, wait, it looks like Diva knows.
Well,
Oh,
Synapha branchidae. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Discussing this
Nose
one.
off.
The dorsal fin's about
Nose is off.
halfway back on the body, which is important. In the lateral line, you can see his dark dots, which is also important. So this could be something called Synaptobranchus brevidorsalis, but there's also some that have the dorsal origin. That's the fin on the top of the body, starting about mid-body, and that's what it seems like this one's doing.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
not sure brevidorsalis is correct.
And for the folks listening and watching from home, is there a common name for this?
Yeah, this is the cutthroat eel,
Oh,
I
you might
believe.
bump your starboard bumper.
And you can see
Partial.
at these depths that the fish don't see very well. This one just crashed into a rock. There's no light down here. We're at 2,118 meters below the sea surface.
Go tight to the face again.
Yep, good.
Watch these. What would you like me to call that marker? You said it's where the fault starts?
Alright, I'm starting to get underneath Sirius.
Yeah, I've got 7-0 in my cam.
Let this guy go.
Okay, start a fault.
Oh, that's a good action shot.
What do these things eat? Shrimp, other fishes?
Pulling out full wide.
It appears they eat
Probably
rocks.
anything meat.
Okay.
Anything meat, okay.
We've seen them with
He needs to look around a
squids
little
in their
bit.
mouth.
You've seen them with squids in their mouth?
Yep.
So Roland, our videographer, who's been doing this out on the Okeanos for about 6 years, said that he's seen
Do a
these
quick zoom on this as I go by.
eat squid. Oh, what do we got there? Looks like dead sponge,
Yeah, come on in.
dead or dying sponge.
Now those
I
hydroids, they look white.
have no idea.
Yeah.
They
I haven't
they
seen
are
white
white.
hydroids before.
No, I don't think they're hydroids.
Okay.
Foraminiferan.
They are what?
Foraminifera, is that what you think they are?
Cool.
Huh. I mean, there's a brittle
Well,
star on the other side. Yeah, I know.
Of the arborescent,
Right.
I've got 8-0 in my
forams.
camera.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
really
copy.
strike me as hydroids are too small.
Yeah. There's a brittle star in the background, but yeah,
Shows
these
some
ones in the
polyps on them.
front, really interesting. So Scott, would this be one cell that has created that structure, or is it a cluster of them?
It would be
One
one
more minute,
cell if
pilot.
it's true. As we get closer, I almost think I see tentacles arising from there. I'm not sure. You must have a
On the
better
lower
view.
left, could see the tentacles.
Actually, in some cases, you have a better view. Our big screen is about 8 feet away from us.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you at home are can spot these smaller things a lot
Quicker
more
than we
quickly than
do.
we do.
Yeah.
Okay, come on in, roll.
Like foreigners.
Just drifting. You gotta
Yep,
see
come on
that.
up.
There we
Well,
go.
we can
There we go.
Spend another minute on this.
You
huh?
know what, those, Scott, I think they're two different things there. I think the
feathery one is different from the white.
Know.
The white guy, because the feathery one doesn't have a thick base, and you see where
the one on the lower left.
Yeah,
the curl is. That's
yeah, but you know what? I'm looking at some of those other ones, and they do look like they have little polyps on the edges of the branches. So there are definitely hydroids there that are different from the other white branching things, but I think the white branching organisms also have little polyps on them.
Just left of center, there's some crab critter, pinkish. Now it's just a little lower left from center.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shirley. There's definitely hydroids on there. You can see them all around the top left and at the top going to the center.
All right, Pilot, I am
White
looking
things,
back
I'm
at you.
definitely not sure of them. They're just too small to be able to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
From this view.
Okay, great.
Move on.
Okay.
Can I get lasers back on?
2 minutes
Absolutely.
of dead sponge.
Lasers on.
No fracture ahead.
Ooh, sandy bottom.
Pink or purple laying on the sand to the left. I believe it's a fish.
Just come on in, center on lasers.
Holothurian.
Holothurian. And something
a round thing.
behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Nav, I don't see a lot in front of me. If you want to do the same move again.
No depth of
Maybe
field on
Xenophile 4, I don't know.
Ooh,
Yeah,
look at the ripple in that Holothurian from our prop wash.
Looks pretty clear.
It's not a prop wash. We're not close enough to it yet.
Visually and on sonar, I see not a lot.
So we'll have another 30 meters, bearing 285.
And a carnivorous sponge next to it, I think.
Oh, bottom left?
Nope.
Where?
Bridge.
To the right of the Xenophile 4, yep.
Oh, man,
Indeed,
you're right.
indeed.
Same again, please. Range 30 meters,
This one
bearing
is those
285.
fibers type.
It is.
Disc on top?
Yeah. Kind of like similar to the one we got yesterday that was on the top of
Good copy, thanks.
the fossil. Pretty.
Oh my, look at the Sirius view. We just crossed over a very flat, finely sedimented margin and up onto this block of lumpy surfaced manganese encrusted, lightly sedimented rock block.
Yep, they're on.
Yeah, they are on.
In a second.
Thanks, Pilot.
That's good. All right. One full wide.
So we have another ship moving?
Yeah, I was just called in 1 minute ago.
Okay, thank you.
Sponge at the bottom of the screen.
It looks like the sandy part should end soon. Something, a fish or something ahead?
Yep, fish.
Yes, it is.
It's the same guy. Come on in.
Does have a white tip.
Let's see if he has
but
the
he
same
doesn't have the
scratches on his
scar.
nose.
It's a different guy. Same.
Nope, this one has different scratches. And he has a bump on his mouth. Nope, actually, those are the same scratches.
Probably from
You think
diving
so?
into the
Yeah,
rock.
guy had more
but those are the
scratches.
same scratches.
So this is not the same eel. You can see the lateral line pores are white, not black.
All right. Corrected again. Had similar scratches. They must bump into rocks a lot.
It wouldn't be science if we weren't learning.
That is true. That's what I love about it.
It's a long guy. We have time for another zoom if you want another
Great
zoom,
ripple marks, too. Good action shot.
Although now the lateral line pores look like they're black from this angle, so I don't know, maybe it is the same eel.
Well, we'll check the video later and see if he has the same marks on his head. But there's a remarkable shrimp.
Let's come in on the shrimp.
So we're waiting for remarks from shore. This guy doesn't have any leeches, I don't think.
No.
Last few days we've been seeing a shrimp
Pilot,
similar to this one with these long legs.
Long legs.
And on the antennae there were white
this one you can
commensals that looked like little worms.
On this one you can actually see the tips of its legs.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, some of the earlier videos showed this the little claw-like features on the legs too.
Alright. Gonna push out. Starting to get behind again. Big dust cloud behind me.
That's alright, we're moving away. It's a cool view from my perspective though.
Take off.
So yeah, I think this, you can see the sandy section ends.
Yep.
Quickly.
Sonar looks like it gets steeper up ahead. See that return?
Yeah, it makes sense. We get to the more rocker area. So the next ship move should put us right in front of that.
Yeah.
And we can adjust from there.
You see a hard return in there with a shadow behind it. You shout.
Copy that. Will shout.
So
it's another one of those guys. Come in.
Yeah.
He's going in for a landing.
Thought these guys were walkers.
Looks like they do both.
Those little legs, they called pleopods? Can't remember.
Right. Can go.
Something white on the rock straight ahead, the bottom of it.
All right, moving on up.
Come on in, Roland.
thank you.
Okay, pilots, I think the ship is now in position.
Copy that, Nav.
Okay. Ready for a wide?
Yep.
On the left, I thought I saw urchin or star on that rock. Crinoid on the bottom of that rock.
It kind of looks like a stylastron hydrocoral. Hydrocorals belong to the hydrozoans and look like a anemone was sitting on it.
Right, come on in, Roland. you have any more? That's it. Yeah.
We are at 2,100 meters.
So we have made 18 meters of our 250. All right, moving on up. Now it's steeper.
Come on in.
Bob Carney says these are sediment ponds between massive rocks.
Yep, I got that down here too.
And a fish just photobombed us.
Come on in.
This is the first time that we've seen this fish in the Marianas. And this is a species of Basozetus, but look at the split long pectoral fins on this guy, which we saw in the Northwest Hawaiian Islands, I think, last year. And I'm going to double check the ID, but I'm sure it's a type of Basozetus. And I was hoping we would see this, and it's unfortunate Bruce is not looking right now.
He will look though.
But fortunately, he'll be able to see the video.
Delta,
Yep.
and I'll
He
come
can
up as
ID
you
it.
come up.
That's kind of cool when you look down on
Yep.
D2 from the Sirius right now. You can see the ROV and you can see the fish right in front of it and the massive rocks.
No, massive
All right,
rock
come on
wall
in, roll.
behind and in front of the ROV.
Probably just saying that you are drifting backwards
Yep.
slowly.
Yep, I'm
Copy.
going with the current. Get
Copy
the head.
that.
And focus. There we go. Beautiful. As the fish just lightly floats down in the water.
Okay, I blew that ID.
Oh, well.
So I take back the Basozetus ID. This is something that's called Erectomyxes pinnatus, and I will type that in. And I think originally we had this as a type of Basozetus, and then Bruce researched it some more and changed it. But this is definitely the first time we've seen this here.
Does it have a common name?
Good to know.
Custeel.
Okie dokie, Cuskiel. For those of you at home, we've seen quite a few different species of Cuskiels
I
Yeah, I
do
wonder,
at 8-0 on
over
my
the
camera.
last week and a half or so.
Yep.
Yeah, coming back down.
Copy that.
Alright, I gotta push ahead.
Looks like some type of whipped coral with some of the polyps missing halfway down.
Yeah, I've gotta push ahead rolling. Seen fish.
him swim through the lens now. Nicely done.
All right, pilot, I'm going to rotate slightly.
No, coming back.
Coming back?
Yeah.
All right, copy that.
Oh, very lumpy out there.
It is lumpy. No wonder some of those fish have scratches on them.
Indeed. And now we're going more or less along contour, so at the same depth, but you can see
There's a
the
very
slope
thin fish
is
straight ahead.
Yep. Come on in.
about 30 to 40 degrees. And we have another fish.
Different one.
And another coral.
Mm.
Diva says this is a halosaurus.
Come on in, Roland.
Diva, I think I asked Bruce last week if he could give us a common name, and he said yes, it's halosaurus.
Very thin tail.
Right, let's come back. Keep getting pushed to starboard because of the current.
Yeah.
There's another fish.
Yep, same guy. Same type of
back
guy.
in. Yep.
Both of them very small.
Same one, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
All right, come on up.
Oh, look at the debris.
I know.
That must be
Yep.
stalks.
Let's get the sponge as I come by.
Those guys are whipping by pretty fast. And
Yeah, the
Yeah,
current's
this
picked
current.
up.
Yeah, I was just going to say. The tether's really streaming starboard.
Oh, this is the same sponge that we saw down
Looked
below.
like that paddle sponge. Yeah, I think so. I think so.
There's a brittle star.
Yeah, and it's another Tretopleura.
there's a worm back there in the back behind the sponge. It's got its tube out, or its feather.
Yeah, come on in on it, Roland.
Okay. Is there an enemy on top of the rock where the lasers are?
Go ahead.
Nope.
Come on out. Good fish.
So I just looked up the derivation of halosaur, and it's a Greek compound word. Hals means sea, and sauros means lizard, sea lizard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pilot, ship has been stopped for 10 minutes now.
Oh, yeah, we need to keep moving.
Okay,
Yeah,
this
you
is
need to let us know when the ship is
Okay.
stopped right now.
the ventral fin
Dude, that was
is
my
Yeah.
fault. Nav, if you want to do,
No, it's Nav's responsibility to keep us moving.
22.
how about 275 will be the new heading or bearing, and then if you just want to do yeah, another 30 meters at point 2.
Okay, dokes,
Okay,
dropping
lots of fish.
And then
30,
Last half
yeah,
hour.
pilot, you're
75.
drifting back. I
Yep.
have you at 85 now.
Right, pushing ahead. It's like we found the fish highway.
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
find
there are lots of
found
fish
the
here.
fish zone.
Well, it is, as Chris suggested,
This
a
is
place
that.
where maybe currents are coming around.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were talking about this
And
yesterday,
therefore,
planning the dive. Yep.
More fertile place for
starfish
critters.
we saw.